It is time for the NFL Week 8 player props. Let's talk some pigskin. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I'm your host, Steven, and we're back to talk player props, one of my favorite times of the week. They've carried us this year, but I'm due for a hot streak. I feel it coming, and hopefully that starts this weekend. If you're looking for game bets, side bets, totals, things like that, that video is out. We release that every Thursday night, so go check that one out. But any graphics you see in this video are from an app called OUTLIER, the best player prop research tool on the market today. Click on the link below and you get a 7-day free trial. But let's get into it, and it starts with the NFL fun fact. Here we go. This is crazy. Through 6 weeks last year, the Jets scored 113 points with Zach Wilson at quarterback. Through 6 weeks this season, the Jets scored 113 points. Zach Wilson, one more victory than Aaron Rodgers, more touchdowns, and less interceptions. They are not doing anything different. I mean, literally, if you just look at the main stats, obviously it's looked a little different, but it has not been pretty for the Jets. So in this video, we are going to go over our best player props for Week 8. And of course, then we're going to have that ladder parlay again. Hopefully we can hit that. And then 3 anytime touchdown bets, and we'll finish it up with the recap. So hit that like button, leave a comment below like you guys do every single day. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we keep moving closer to 31,000 subscribers. Thanks for the support. We really appreciate it. But let's get into it. And it starts with player prop number 1. All right, this first one is a receiver prop. Romeo, where art thou, Romeo? Dobbs, over 48.5 receiving yards, minus 113 on FanDuel. This guy is Jordan Love's number one receiver lately. He has 22 targets in the last 3 weeks. He is over this in 4 of 6 games this week. Christian Watson, another receiver, is questionable. He just absolutely crushed this line versus the Texans on 8 receptions last week. But the matchup, I mean, seriously, one of the first things I do is where are the receivers who are playing the Jacksonville Jaguars? Because that's how terrible they are. And they're actually a top 10 run defense, which makes this even better because they're going to have to throw the ball more to move it. But they're ranked 29th in receiving yards allowed to the wide receiver position. They've also given up the second highest QB rating to opposing quarterbacks. 30th in pass yards per attempt. It has been ugly. And the crazy thing is, it's not like they're facing the elite pass offenses either. For their games this year, Browns, Colts, Bears, and Patriots. That's right. That's how terrible they have been. 8 wide receivers. I've already gone over this line versus these guys. And again, they're not even that great of wide receivers and passing offenses like I talked about. The best passing teams they faced, Texans and the Bills. That's right. But let's talk about Mr. Romeo. He's averaging 13.5 yards per reception. His ADOT, average depth of target, 13 yards, 443 air yards in 6 games. He has at least one catch for 20 or more yards in 3 straight games now, 18 plus yards in all 6. So 1 plus catch of 20 or more in 3 straight, 1 plus catch of 18 or more in all 6 games. He's a big play guy. As you guys can tell, I expect another one of those, especially against this Jags team, maybe even deeper than 20 yards, that's for sure. But the Jags also love to give up big plays. It might be in their contract or something. I'm not exactly sure. But this will be one of the best passing games the Jags have faced this season. I know there can be a lot of mouths to feed in Green Bay, but Dobbs has proven to be the go-to guy for Jordan Love. And honestly, he could get this with a couple big plays. We've seen it against Jacksonville before. So let's count on Romeo, where art thou, Romeo, to get over this receiving yards line as my first best bet. All right, this second one goes to a big name player. Give me Cedric Tillman. Over 38.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on BetMGM. This is a half unit play for me because the sample size is too small. So I'm going to play it safe here. It's a bit riskier, obviously. So here's the deal with him. If you don't know about him, he's on the Cleveland Browns, by the way. No Amari Cooper last week because they traded him. So Tillman finally played a lot, and he dominated. He had 12 targets. Second to David Njoku with 14, and he turned that into 8 catches for 81 yards. He was all over the field. He looked good, and 2 reasons I love this bet. 1, the Ravens' pass defense is absolutely atrocious. You guys know that. They've given up the 3rd most receiving yards to the wide receiver position, the most pass yards per game in the NFL, the 4th most pass attempts to quarterbacks. Jameis Winston's line is like 35.5 pass attempts. He is going to be chucking it all over the field. And of course, the Ravens defense, their run defense is absolutely legit. The Browns are going to have to chuck it all over the field to move the ball. Second reason is the guy I just talked about. Jameis freaking Winston is the quarterback now. We talked about it in the other video because I have another bet in this game. He's a better passer than Watson is right now. He may make mistakes. That's not the end of the world for this prop. But he's also a guy who threw for over 5,000 yards one time. He threw for over 30 touchdowns one year. He is an upgraded quarterback. He's going to take chances. He's going to chuck it all over. So it's not going to be this little 4-yard dink and dunk that Deshaun Watson does. So I absolutely love the upgrade there. Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, been really inconsistent. Good game script as the Browns should be playing from behind all game long. So give me Cedric Tillman over 38.5 receiving yards as my second best bet. This third one is the man, the myth, the legend, becoming one of my favorite players. Give me Brock freaking Bowers over 59.5 receiving yards, minus 110 on DraftKings. This is a 1-unit play, and you may hear about him a little bit later as well. But I was shocked to see this line. You guys know who follow me. We bet him last week, and he absolutely crushed it. Went over his normal line in the first half, crushed the ladder line that we had for him. This man is absolutely elite. There's no Devontae Adams, obviously. No Jacoby Myers. Bowers, the last 3 weeks without Adams, over in 3 straight easily. 12, 10, and 14 targets. 8, 9, and 10 catches. 97, 71, and 93 yards. It's absolutely insane that they are still dropping a 59.5 line for the best tight end in football. And you may think, well, maybe it's a tough matchup and they'll keep it down. It's absolutely the opposite. The Chiefs are dead last versus tight ends. That's right. They have given up more yards to the tight end position than any other team in the entire NFL. Kittle just had 92 last week. Jawan Johnson, 31. Kyle Pitts, 59. Mike Gesicki, 91. You get where I'm going. Isaiah Likely, he had over 100 yards receiving in week 1. And then target share last 3 weeks, 30%, 24%, and 30%. It's just massive for a tight end, for anybody really. But good game script here as I expect the Raiders to be down. It's like a 9-10 point spread. And like I've said before, Brock Bowers is the best tight end. He is going to get peppered with targets. Volume alone should get him there. I absolutely love him here. This is my favorite play of the weekend, to be honest with you. So Brock Bowers over 59.5 receiving yards. That is my third best bet. All right, this fourth one is a quarterback prop, but it's a rushing prop. Give me Kyler Murray over 34.5 rush yards at minus 110 on Bet365 for 1 unit. It's been kind of feast or famine for Kyler Murray when it comes to rush yards. As you can tell by this screenshot with OUTLIER, he's over in 5 of 7 games this year, but the 5 overs, he's actually had 45 plus rush yards in all 5. So like I said, it's either a ton or not enough, or not even close to enough. 57 plus rush yards in 4 of those 5 overs. The 2 misses versus Washington and Green Bay, I believe they were both blowouts. He only had 3 and 14 yards. Like I said, it's either nothing or a ton. But he's had big runs this season. He's had a run of 21 or more yards now in 6 of his last 8 games he's played. He's a guy, if you watch him, when he is pressured, he has no problem taking off. He will just absolutely book it. Miami's gotten some pressure on quarterbacks lately. I like this matchup. They're in the top half of the league in quarterback pressures. I think they also blitz at a decently high rate at 28.7%. And really, the only mobile quarterback they face is Anthony Richardson. He had 56 yards rushing against Miami. As long as this game stays competitive, I love Kyler to go over this. I think this total is too low. Like I said, he's a guy who can get 20-yard chunks. It may only take a couple big runs and he gets us there. I think this line is too low. Give me Kyler over 34.5 rush yards as my fourth and final bet on the video. I may have another added one in the pinned comments before Sunday. But before we get to the anytime touchdowns, let's talk the ladder parlay. All right, this will be quick because there are 2 players we just talked about. Give me Brock Bowers, 70-plus receiving yards. Kyler Murray, 45-plus rush yards as the ladder parlay. I got this at plus 519 on ESPN Bet. I am throwing a half unit on it. Brock Bowers, you know the drill with him. We just talked about him. He is the absolute man. He cashed our ladder parlay last week. He is just going absolute ballistics in every single game. He's got a great matchup. Let's do it again. Kyler Murray, 45-plus rush yards. We talked about this one, obviously, but in every game he's gone over, and for those 5, they've all been 45 or more rush yards. So this is something he's already done 5 times this year. It isn't anything crazy. I didn't want to go 50, 60. I just want to play it safe because we're still getting plus 519 here. Should be a competitive game with Miami. Hopefully, Tua will be back. Miami will move the offense. Hopefully, we can get some offenses back and forth, and Kyler gets a lot of chances. So give me Kyler, 45-plus rush yards. Brock Bowers, 70-plus receiving yards. Plus 519 on ESPN Bet as the Week 8 ladder parlay. And now let's check out those touchdown bets. All right, speaking of Tua, we start out with Mr. Tyreek Hill as my first anytime touchdown bet of the weekend, plus 110 on DraftKings. These are all a quarter unit each. I am not parlaying them. You do what you got to do, but just letting you guys know, obviously Tua is back. It makes a huge difference. His odds are not usually plus 110. When Tua was playing, his odds were in the minus 120 range. So I think we're getting nice value after an offense that was just completely inept thanks to terrible quarterback play and terrible coaching. But great bounce back spot here. He's facing a Cardinals defense ranked 21st in touchdowns allowed to the wide receiver position. They don't get a ton of pressure on quarterbacks either. This is a guy in Tyreek Hill who had 14 touchdowns last season. Don't forget that. He only has 3 so far this year because of the circumstances. I expect him to go on a little run here for some touchdowns. So give me the speedster to find the end zone at plus 110. Second one, receiver prop again. Give me A.J. Brown anytime touchdown, plus 140 on DraftKings and FanDuel. He's only played in 3 games this year. And guess what? He has a touchdown in all 3 games. He's seen 28% target share when he's been out there. He's scored 3 of 7 wide receiver touchdowns for the Eagles. That's right. He has practically half of them, and he's played in 3 games. This guy is the absolute #1 receiver. Since he pass defense, we know not very good, allowing over 1.5 passing touchdowns per game, 26th. Brown is the absolute man, and here's the deal: 89 plus receiving yards in all 3 games. That just shows you how much Hurts likes to find him. He can score from 50 yards out. He can score in the red zone, obviously being a big target that he is. He has 9 plus targets in 2 of 3 games. Give me A.J. Brown for a touchdown, and what can Brown do for you? How about that? Anyways, then London Bridge is falling down. We're running it back. Drake London anytime touchdown, plus 115 on FanDuel. Like I said last week, he is an absolute red zone monster. He's now scored in 3 straight games, and when he faced the Bucks like 3-4 weeks ago, he had a touchdown. He had 13 targets, and he had 154 yards. This Bucks defense is horrendous. We talked about that in the Game Bets video as well. Go check it out. But Bucks gave up 5 passing touchdowns just last week to Lamar Jackson. That's how terrible their secondary is. Like I mentioned last week, Kirk Cousins absolutely peppers him with targets in the red zone. One of the highest red zone target share wide receivers in the entire NFL. Let's ride the London train again at plus 115. I'm surprised they're still giving us plus money for this. A.J. Brown plus 140, and then Tyreek Hill plus 110. Those are my 3 anytime touchdown bets, all my player props, and the ladder parlay for this weekend. Again, any added plays will be in the pinned comments below on X and on Discord. Discord is free, by the way. Go check it out. But that's what I got. Before I get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. Romeo Doubs over 48.5 receiving yards, minus 113 for a unit. Charles Tillman, I almost called him. Cedric Tillman of the Cleveland Browns over 38.5 receiving yards, minus 115 for a half unit. And then Brock Bowers, favorite play of the weekend, over 59.5 receiving yards, minus 110 for a unit. And then Kyler Murray over 34.5 rush yards, minus 110 for a unit. And the latter, Brock Bowers, 70 plus receiving yards, Kyler Murray, 45 plus rush yards, plus 519 on ESPN bet for a half unit. And then the anytime touchdown bets, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, Drake London, a quarter unit each, not a parlay or anything like that, all plus money. Hopefully we can have just an absolute great weekend. Thank you guys for watching again, and I appreciate the support all NFL season long as we are nearing the halfway mark, which is absolutely crazy. But anyways, if you haven't already, hit that like button for me. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy some football, and we'll talk to you soon.